I know what you guys are thinking. It's barely November yet, and you're already making a mock draft. What the hell is the matter with you? I thought it would be a lot of fun to do a way too early mock draft just so we could get a reference point towards the end of the year as to how far each and every one of these players have come. And I'm gonna try my best to do player comparisons and give you guys a brief synopsis of each player. However, I must admit, I only know a handful of these players, and I've briefly looked over some scouting reports of each and every player. So we're gonna assume that the New York Knicks get the #1 overall pick, and with the #1 overall pick, the Knicks are gonna select LaMelo Ball. He seems to be significantly more mature now that he's 6'7". I find him to be an absolutely devastating shot creator, playmaker, and of course, an improving finisher. So with the first pick of the NBA draft, we're going to see the New York Knicks take LaMelo Ball. With the second pick of the NBA draft, we're going to see the Cleveland Cavaliers take James Wiseman. And James Wiseman reminds me of kind of like Anthony Davis because he's 7 foot and he has a 7'4" wingspan. He's going to play for Memphis this year. He's very athletic. He could dominate the paint at both ends of the floor. The only thing he needs to work on is developing his post game. And once he's able to do that, then he'll be absolutely unstoppable. But the potential is, of course, 100% there. With the third pick in the NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets are going to select, obviously, the best player on the board at this point still, Anthony Edwards. And I guess I put need here as well over, of course, talent, because a lot of people think Cole Anthony should go here, but the Hornets have a lot of capital invested in Terry Rozier, and I felt like Anthony Edwards' ability to not only make shots from the perimeter, but also finish on the inside would be just what the Hornets need to turn around that franchise. So Anthony Edwards plays like a Victor Oladipo-like player, and I think he's going to be extremely successful for Georgia this year. He's only 6'5", but he has a very nice wingspan of 6'9", and hopefully he's able to turn around the Hornets. Now, with the fourth pick in the NBA draft, the Washington Wizards are going to go ahead and select Cole Anthony. Now, what's crazy about Cole Anthony's game is it's pretty much like the Wizards are drafting John Wall here again. Although, well, not really John Wall. He plays like John Wall, but he also plays like Kemba Walker. He has great handles. He has a great basketball IQ. He's a great point guard that makes the correct play and could always score in bunches. And I really hate to say this because I was a huge John Wall fan, and I still am, but I think it might be time to draft the heir to John Wall, or just whoever is the best player available. And at this point, if you ask me, the gap between Isaiah Stewart and Cole Anthony is significantly higher, so I would go Cole Anthony if I was the Washington Wizards at #4. With the fifth pick, I have the Phoenix Suns going here in a move that I feel like the Suns are just going to go with need over anything because they have been needing this for so long. I have the Phoenix Suns drafting RJ Hampton with the 5th overall pick. Now, RJ Hampton is LaMelo Ball's teammate, and he's shown great potential. He has crazy upside, but he plays a little bit like Jamal Murray. His draft stock has gone up and down a little bit over the past couple of months, but of course, it's still a long year. He could definitely improve it. If you're the Phoenix Suns, you do need a player that could step in, hit the wide open 3 ball, and just be able to play off of Devin Booker and run a pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. If you're able to get that, then I'm sure you will come out of this draft very, very happy. Now, with the 6th pick, unfortunately, I'm really sorry if you're a Grizzlies fan. I don't see them making the playoffs this year. They're not there yet, but they're very close. I see them drafting Isaiah Stewart with the 6th overall pick, and that's because he is literally what they're missing. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., who could hit shots from the outside. They have John Morant, who is a fantastic playmaker and a great point guard at that. I feel like he's going to be an all-star in the league for sure. They do need someone to lock down the inside, and I feel like Isaiah Stewart will be that rim protector. He's 6'9", has a 7'4" wingspan. His game reminds me of a little bit of Derek Favors, maybe with some more flair. I think he's a perfect fit for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, speeding things up here a little bit, the OKC Thunder are going to be picking over here at #7 with probably their very first of many first-round picks, and I have them drafting Denny Avdija. I definitely butchered the hell out of that, but he is pretty much who a lot of people are saying this year's Luka Doncic, this year's like potential Luka Doncic. Of course, you never know with international players, but I feel like the Thunder need that type of player. They need a high potential, high risk, high reward player that they could build around. Denny is that guy. He plays a very slow type of basketball, but he can light it up from downtown, and he's great at setting up his teammates. I feel like it's probably the best fit in the entire draft. Now, with the 8th overall pick, I have the Atlanta Hawks drafting TRENDON Watford, who kind of reminds me of Jeff Green, kind of. He's very athletic. He has NBA size. He's 6'8", 220. He has a 7 foot 1.5 wingspan. He's playing for LSU this year. Is really good from mid-range and has a nice all-around game. Definitely a very similar type of player that they've been going for lately, similar to DeAndre Hunter in a sense and Cam Reddish, depending what Cam Reddish gives us at the NBA level. We still don't really know what Cam Reddish is going to give us, but what I'm trying to say is Watford could step in, doesn't consume a lot of the possessions, will do what you need him to do to help contribute to the team, and I feel like he'll be able to run it with Trae Young and Jabari Parker, DeAndre Hunter, Cameron Reddish, John Collins. Now with the 9th overall pick, and I'm really sorry, Pelicans fans, I didn't think you guys would come here, but you guys ended up back here. I have you guys drafting NICO MANNION, and that's because I feel like it's nice to have some point guard depth. He is a player that could score, come off the bench for you guys, could do a little bit of everything. He's Italian, he's 6'3", 180 pounds, perfect fit for the New Orleans Pelicans. But with the 10th pick, I have the Orlando Magic drafting Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who is a power forward, and this pick makes no sense whatsoever because the Magic have tons of big men, but I feel like it's a move that the Orlando Magic would make. They haven't really shown me the greatest ability to draft lately, and I don't mean to poop on the Magic. I really feel like you guys are going to do very well this year, but I just can't help but feel like you guys are going to go into the draft and draft a player that is probably the best player at that point, but you definitely don't need, and just clog up your front court even more. I just have that hunch. I'm sorry. Now with the 11th pick, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves drafting TYRESE Maxey, who is a combo guard who has the ability to light it up. He plays very similar to Lou Williams, and well, you know what you're getting with Lou Williams. You have the ability to score and get hot really quickly. But of course, we're going to have to see what he does in Kentucky. That's a pretty big billing to live up to. Hopefully he's able to fulfill his potential. Now, with the 12th pick, I have the Chicago Bulls drafting Theo Maledon, who is explosive as heck. He's from France, and he reminds me a little bit of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's very explosive, has obviously the physical tools to succeed in the NBA because he's 6'5", has a 6'8" wingspan, should be able to be a problem on the defensive side of the ball. With the 13th pick, I have the Pistons drafting Samuel Williamson, who is pretty much a athletic small forward, very similar to Richard Jefferson. With the 14th pick, I have the Raptors drafting Scottie Lewis, who is a shooting guard who's very athletic, very similar to Dwayne Wade. With the 15th pick, I have the Sacramento Kings drafting Precious Achiuwa, who is a player in the mold of Tobias Harris, Marcus Morris, Markieff Morris, likes to play on the perimeter, catch and shoot, great strength, has a nice ability to rebound. With the 16th pick, now this is going to be a little bit interesting. I do have the Miami Heat taking a center, N'Faly Dante. He is going to be playing in Oregon this year, has a 7'5" wingspan. So if you're able to capitalize on that potential, then you got yourself a problem at the center position. I know that the Heat have centers. Well, no, they did have centers. They just traded Hassan Whiteside this offseason. So that's probably going to be to fill that void. With the 18th pick, I have the Milwaukee Bucks taking Ayo Dosunmu, who is a very big and talented player, very similar to Drew Holiday. Could hit the three, 6'5", 6'6" wingspan. Now, this is what I think is going to happen, and this is going to drive some people crazy. You know the Golden State Warriors make these types of picks, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering how the heck this happened. With the 19th pick, I have the Golden State Warriors making everyone in the NBA collectively poop their pants and drafting Jaden McDaniels, who's a high upside wing player, was considered a top 5 pick earlier in this, like, I guess a couple months ago. He has been slipping a little bit, but again, the college season hasn't even started. His game really reminds me of Jonathan Isaac's because he's very lengthy, but he has a huge upside, and I hope he could capitalize on it. And if I feel like the Warriors will get him because the Warriors love making draft picks like this that like make splashes, very well-known college players, and then they develop them. I don't even want to think about it. So with the 20th pick, I have the Boston Celtics selecting Charles Bassey, who's pretty much a Nigerian center, very similar to Bismack Biyombo. With the 21st pick, I have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Khalil Whitney, who is a wing player who's similar to DeMar DeRozan, has a 7-foot wingspan. He's going to be playing for Kentucky this year. With the 26th pick, I have the Houston Rockets trying to get another energy type of player in Reggie Perry, who's pretty much like a Bam Adebayo type of player, very good rebounder, very aggressive on the boards, and just needs to improve his offensive game. I have the Atlanta Hawks drafting Vernon Carey Jr., who is like another type of bruising center, more or less. He's going to be playing for Duke this year. With the 24th pick, I have the Portland Trail Blazers drafting Tyrese Halliburton, which, by the way, what a badass last name. He's a 6'5" point guard with a 7-foot wingspan. I know what you guys are all thinking. You're thinking Michael Carter-Williams here. Let's just wait to see how his career ends in college before we make that decision, because apparently he has a much improved 3-point jumper. Now, the 25th pick, I have the Utah Jazz drafting AMAR, who is supposed to be this year's Pascal Siakam. I feel like he's a player that could fit into Quinn Snyder's offense very well, and a player that Quinn Snyder would go for, because I think the world of Quinn Snyder. I think he's an offensive mastermind. It just makes the most sense for me for SYLLA to go here, and I feel like the Jazz will get the most out of him. Now with the 26th pick, I have the OKC Thunder drafting MCCLUNG, who is a point guard from Georgetown. He plays I don't know if you guys remember Daryl Brown, D Brown, very similar to his game. He has crazy athleticism, maybe more like Shannon Brown if you want to think about it. Now with the 27th pick, I have the LA Clippers drafting ASHTON HAGANS, who's pretty similar to Elfrid Payton. He makes great decisions. He's a sophomore in Kentucky this year. With the 28th pick, I have the Milwaukee Bucks once again coming back to draft Jordan NWORA, who is pretty much a 3-and-D prospect for the most part. He's going to be playing for Louisville this year. The 29th pick, I have the Los Angeles Lakers drafting Tyler Bay. He's a player that reminds me of Andre Roberson. Doesn't really have much of an offensive game. Could rebound and defend and run the floor, however. And with the 30th pick, I have the Brooklyn Nets drafting Johnny Juzang, who's a player that could hit it from downtown. Great 3-point shooter and score in mid-range. He has great size and a nice feel for the game. So this is my mock draft, guys. I know a lot of you guys are not going to agree with it, and I don't really blame you for doing so, because this is way too early for a mock draft, but we're going to do another one in a couple of months, and we're going to keep tabs on this this upcoming season in terms of NBA prospects. If you're new to the channel, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm your boy, The Flight Mike, and I'll catch you guys later.